I want to chat with you about reflections today. What is a reflection? A reflection is a physical manifestation that we have of how we feel about ourselves and how we are being towards ourselves. So we take these things and experiences that condition us as children and they make us feel a certain way about ourselves. They condition us to feel a certain way about people, about ourselves, about experiences. And when we are children, obviously we're super moldable. And it is our job as adults to decondition the things that we learn as children that we might not resonate with as adults. So for me, when self-love is like I'm mastering self-love, I have asked for a mastery in self-love. And so what's going to happen is throughout my life, I have, and this has always been a part of my journey, self-love, mastering self-love has been something that is my path. It is a huge part of my path. Hence this podcast, hence my transition in career paths. I know that I had to go through all of the things that I've gone through in my past and the way that I was raised for a reason. It all happened for me, and that for me is my future. And it took me a very, very long time to see that all of these things that we might perceive as shitty experiences, that they happened for me. I had to turn the things that I saw as shit into gold. I had to neutralize them. I made a T-chart. I put a plus and a minus side on each side. I wrote down all the things that I've been through that I perceived as negative. And then on the opposite side, I wrote down how those things impacted my life in a more positive way. I didn't have the best fatherly, unconditional love growing up. I often didn't feel safe around my dad. And that's because I always felt like I was walking on eggshells because I didn't feel good enough. And that obviously took a mental toll on my self-worth and affected me growing up. And I was always trying to fill that void, to get that approval from another person. And instead, I should have been working on myself. I should have been looking inwards and knowing that I am worthy, that I am enough. But it took me a lot of time. And I don't like even that I just said I should have been, because I am and I have done these things. It just took me longer to learn. And throughout my life, I was given these reflections, given these so-called like lessons, life lessons, to finally get my human self to figure out that I am enough, that I am worthy, that I have everything that I desire, that I don't need another person. I don't need a man to make me feel whole, right? So the fact that I looked outwards for all of these external things, for a man to like make me feel like I was whole, like I was good enough, and it was all a part of my story. It's all a part of my journey. And the beautiful thing about all of that is that I learned so much throughout all these traumas, throughout these experiences that I've experienced, because they've made me who I am today. They've made me more relatable to you guys. I know that I'm not the only person who's doesn't have the best unconditional fatherly or motherly love. Lucky for me, I do have that motherly unconditional love. I know that's not the case for everybody, but it's our job to figure out why that happened for us and why our soul chose that path for us, and to do what we can to make the most out of it. Because I wasn't looking inward for my own approval, my own love, my own acceptance, the universe, God, whoever you pray to, whatever word best resonates with you, was constantly giving me these reflections, giving me these lessons. And it took me, like I said, a lot of time to learn that learn self-worth and to stop giving my power away to people that didn't even value me. Um, it's something that I still recently sometimes have to learn over again because this is a lifelong thing. It doesn't just, you don't just ask for a mastery in something and wake up one day and like it's served to you on a silver platter. Like, no, you have to learn. You have to give, you have to go through experiences to learn and then to master it from those lessons, to take whatever you learn from that situation and turn it into a lesson. And if you do not figure out what it is that you were supposed to learn from whatever shitty situation that you've been through and how that happened for you, the universe is going to continue to give you that same lesson over and over and over again until you learn the lesson. Because our soul doesn't, our higher self, it's like, how are we going to get this human to pay attention to what it is that they need to learn in order to be in their highest divine alignment with their highest self? It can't just be like, hey, here you go, here's everything. It has to give you physical reflections on how to learn from that situation. And these could be big or small, right? So they could be as big as something as life changing as not having unconditional fatherly love. It could be losing a loved one. It could be something really traumatic like emotional sexual abuse. All of these things that are perceived as negative, we have to flip the narrative and we have to neutralize it and see why from that experience, we have to see the positive side of it as well. We have to change the neural pathways in our brain in order to move forward and to stop receiving these reflections. I'll give you my own personal example. Again, something a little bit less traumatic that's happened to me more recently because I have recently asked to master self-worth. Like, I've never actually been like, hey, I want, like, ask the universe, God, source to master something, right? So I pulled last week to master self-worth because obviously this is my path. This is what I want to teach. This is what I want to help people with. And in order to do that, in order to gain the knowledge that I need to gain, the universe is going to constantly remind me that what I asked for. And it's my job to take a step back and to see what each reflection means and what I need to learn from each quote unquote lesson. So this past week, I've had a lot of my thoughts have been in a place where they like shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been like a second guess in my mind. Like, I had been putting my energy into something that was not in my highest divine alignment. And I know that. And I didn't trust my intuition. And I've been second guessing my intuition, which the universe is going to be like, no, reel it back in. Remember what you asked for. Here's a reflection. So yesterday, I went to the water store. I go to a water brewery, and the brewery like fills up my gallons of water. So I go and I fill up my gallons of water, and I put one of the gallons, 5-gallon jugs, in the back of my car. And when I opened up my trunk, that 5-gallon jug fell out onto the floor and spilled and was like spilled everywhere. And I picked it up and I just thought like the cap cracked. And so I was like, oh, I'll just like put it on my water thing, my crock that holds all the water where I pour the spout has, all the things. Anyways, I was like, I'll just dump it on there and it'll be fine. And then I went to the beach. I took Zeus to the dog beach and we walked around for 2 hours. I was gone for 2 hours and I came back inside and I opened my door and I come back inside and I just see my entire house is like flooded with water. The entire jug is empty. It's all over the floor, all over my bed, all over everything that's underneath my bed. And I'm just like, fuck. Literally, I yelled that. I yelled fuck. And I was like, okay, what does this mean? Like, why is this happening? Because now, when you get a reflection, I don't want you to be like analyzing your entire life. Like, what does this mean? What does that mean? Like, we don't need to be going that crazy into it. But when bigger things happen for me, I take a step back and I reflect and I'm like, okay, why is this happening? What am I supposed to be learning from this? And when I spill things, it's a self-love, self-worth reflection for me. And I knew immediately that that's what it was because intuitively it just like was like thrown in my face like, yeah, we told you, and you were like putting your energy into something else that wasn't deserving of your energy. And instead, we're going to make you take the time to now clean your entire living space, to clean up all this water, to clean your house, to cleanse your house, to take this time to focus on you and solely you, to become, to like have your space become like a, a good clean space for you. And you just have to like, I had to take that time to solely focus on myself and show myself some love, show my house some love. And so that's what I saw, that I was like, okay, universe, like I see you, right? And then I wake up this morning. So I had to put everything outside, obviously, to dry. My rug was soaking wet. It soaked up a lot of the water. And so I had to take that outside, ask my neighbors to pull the rug out from under, help me pull the rug out from underneath my bed, to hang it on their stairs. And then I wake up this morning and it's raining. So I was like, cool. So everything that I put outside was, in fact, still very wet. And I know that this was a reflection of self-worth because I asked for this. And I have to now take the time to, I had to clean my house. I cleaned my sheets. I made my space very much so like good and a very amazing environment for me to be in. And I have to now take the time to take my rug to the dry cleaners, and I have to take the time to let my stuff dry out. And so it's just a huge reflection on my end. These reflections, like I said, I've given you an example of something really big in my life that's been a reflection for me to like learn self-love from. And I've also given you kind of like a little mini reflection of a reminder, kind of like a nudge from the universe, like, hey, don't forget what you asked for. We're giving you this lesson, this circumstance for you to learn from. So luckily for me, I see this. And a lot of the world is stuck in this victim mentality and sometimes blame the universe, God, source, to that, like, oh, like everything's happening to me and I can never catch a break, and blame, 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 victim, victim, victim. And it's not God's fault. It's not anyone's fault. They're not punishing you. Reflections are not punishments. You should be thanking God, thanking the universe, source, for these reflections, because they're literally just trying to help you grow and to become a higher, most aligned version of yourself. Reflections can look like spilling things. They can look like traumatic events that happen throughout your life. They can be you getting sick. They could be you manifesting a chronic illness. They could be an element in your body that manifests. It could be acne. It could be so many, like, it could be you getting rear-ended by a car behind you. All of these things that like are also little, that they could be too. So it's your job to, whatever you feel that is happening to you, whatever is happening for you, it's your job to like dissect it and be like, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this? What is the universe, God, source, trying to teach me, trying to help me learn to become a higher version of myself? Let's say that you ask for mastery in patience. You're not just going to wake up and like be patient, right? You're going to be tested throughout your life so that you can gain patience throughout your life. Let's say you are wanting to master your intuition and you intuitively feel like your gut feeling, your inner knowing is telling you that you should stop dating the person that you're dating. And you don't. You continue to date that person. And because you continue to date that person, that relationship just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, or you end up getting hurt in the long run. It's your job to realize that, to recognize that as for what it is, which is a lesson, and to just know that it's happening for you so that you can be a better version of yourself for that future person who you were actually meant to be with. Or maybe that it's a reflection of you needing to look inward and to focus on yourself. All of these things, like the sickness too, if you are getting sick all the time, like let's say you need to slow down. Let's say you really want to learn how to just be in the present and to slow down. And the universe wants you to slow down. It wants you to, maybe you don't even know that you want this and you're just like going all the time, doing the most, and you're not slowing down. The universe will quite literally make sick, and you'll get sick and have to slow down. Your body will have to slow down because you physically cannot do anything else but be present, be on by yourself, and to slow down. So I don't want you to like start analyzing every single part of your life and ask what everything means. But when these bigger things and things that are a little bit less convenient for you happen or do come up, it's your responsibility to turn whatever it is that you think is a shit experience into a gold experience, into an experience that you were meant to learn from to become a better, higher version of you. And let's say you are going through a reflection right now, like something that you see as negative is happening in your life right now. And you're like, okay, Michaela, I don't really see the silver lining in this. And honestly, you might not see it at first. It might take you a while to see it, but it is happening for you. And eventually you will see it, whether it be a month from now or a year from now, but everything is happening for you. Let's say you're talking negative about yourself, and deep down inside, you really want to feel better. You want to do better. You don't want to talk to yourself negatively. So the universe is going to continue to bombard you with these thoughts of negative self-worth. It's your job to take those and to switch them to positive, to catch yourself talking negatively about yourself, and then to flip it and to be like, no, like I am amazing. I am worthy. I am loved. I am all of these things that you actually want, right? Let's say that growing up, something happened for you that made you very closed off. It made you close your heart. It made you not really trust people. And all you want is to be able to open your heart, to like let your guard down, to be able to trust people again. If you are in the energy of, I need to have this wall up, I need to play it safe, and I need to keep my wall up, and I can't open my heart to anyone. Like, for instance, you getting your heart broken, okay, and being in a shitty relationship. if you were in a shitty relationship and then you get out of that shitty relationship and it was super toxic, but you get out of it and then you're super closed off and you don't trust anyone and you're in the mentality and the energy of like all men, all women are trash, blah, blah, blah. If that's the way you think, that you can't trust, that you can't open your heart to because you don't feel safe. But if you're in the energy of I only attract people that I can trust. I only attract people that I know have my best interest. I know and I trust that the person that I am meant to be with is out there. Um, if you're in that kind of energy and like a more positive energy, which is how you neutralize it, like if you were in that shitty relationship, that toxic relationship, instead of being closed off, instead of only thinking like, oh, all men are trash because of all these shitty experiences I've had with men, if you flip that and you open your heart and you do the work and you heal through that trauma, you will start to shift the energy and you will start to become a magnet for people who are going to match the same energy that you have within yourself. But if you're just this negative person and you can't see any silver lining on any dark cloud and you're just dwelling on the negative all the time, you will quite literally attract nothing but negative. You will attract people into your life that you can't trust. You will attract people into your life that do not have your highest interest at heart. And that will continue to teach you these lessons until you learn the lesson, which is that you can open your heart to others despite what you've been through. You can trust people despite what you've been through, but you have to learn that lesson. You have to change the narrative and you have to move forward. Because if you're living in the past, if you're living in scarcity, then that's all, like, you're not going to move forward. You're going to be stuck. You're just going to be stuck in this like shit mentality of I'm never going to find somebody who actually cares for me and loves me and sees my worth and values me as a person. You're going to continue to attract people that like aren't great for you. And that is no way to live. Like, you don't want to live in your past. You have to work through these traumas. You have to neutralize the experiences, because if you do not, then you will continue to be in that hamster wheel of woe is me, and you will continue to attract those types of situations because you're not learning from them. You're just like playing the victim game. So when you ask for, let's say, a healthy, strong, amazing relationship, but let's say you're not ready, or like the universe doesn't think you're ready, the universe is going to continue to be like, is going to continue to give you lessons until you learn that you don't need that other person. You don't need that healthy relationship. Like, you need that relationship with yourself first. And then once you have that with yourself, the universe will give you what you want, but you have to learn the lesson that you were meant to learn from your past relationships, from your traumas, from your shitty childhood, if that's the case for you. So if you're going through something right now and you can't really see the silver lining, I would journal about it. I would sit down and get out a piece of paper and a pen and write the T chart. Do your best to neutralize it. Dig deep, peel back the onion, because there is always a silver lining to everything. There's a reason that there's a rainbow after all the storms, okay? You have to figure out what that is. Because if you don't, you're just going to be stuck in this hamster wheel of playing the victim game, and you're going to be stuck in the energy of lack and of scarcity and not being able to trust people. And you just have to transition yourself into believing that everything that you desire, the life that you desire to live, the relationship that you desire to have is out there. It's already yours. You just have to get into the energy of that thing that you're desiring. And the only way that you're able to do that is if you learn from the lessons that the universe is continuing to give you. These reflections are there for a reason. They're a lesson. They are good, though. They are not for you to blame anybody else. You have to look inward. You have to move forward. You have to do that work. Bottom line. And that's all I've got for you today.